on the Sunday morning. We are meeting again to in our Pleasure Besties studio, remote studio, with Ingmar, and I'm Natalia. Today we are going to talk about what does it actually mean for us, for each of us, and therefore we hope also to spark the sort of like a more in-depth recognition of what that is for you too. What do we actually need to sexually thrive? What that is. And we just had a little conversation before we started recording, and like today I just feel like we are really arriving into a new level of depth that we want to bring out there for everyone. So basically, these are the conversations that we are just having as best friends with Ingmar, just calling each other's. And we would just really love for women to become these sisters for each other's, to really get deeply connected and deeply curious about what does it actually mean for us to be sexually alive, to thrive, and to be fully sexually expressed, and to just speak more openly and often about that in the deeply embodied way, not in a performative one, not in the way that shows off, wants to be overly, kinky or this or that. I'm not saying that being kinky is not embodied, because it also is. But oftentimes before that, there is also this level of first meeting this really deep, probably hidden part of us that needs something very specific to be sexually open and to be naturally sexually open. And so far we have found out, probably it's not a surprise for anyone here, that it's safety. That actually safety is the key to allow this openness and to even start to feel that openness is a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm in the progress to become a sex, love, and relationship coach. For everyone who doesn't know that yet. We got first asked a question like, what would it look like for us to sexually thrive? For me, it had like two aspects. One, it was to go to deep surrendered spaces, because right now I'm like a lot at the edge and not like fully daring to like jump in there and like fully give myself over to the moment. And the other aspect for me was to also show up like that in life, to like walk around in the streets and like truly be in my juiciness, be in my sexual energy. And I realized, like, we got asked the question, what would we need to know to be absolutely true, so we allow ourselves to sexually thrive, to like walk around in the streets owning our sexuality, or like to go to those deep orgasmic places. And yeah, just like Natalia said, I found out that I don't feel safe. A lot of times I don't feel safe to go there, to walk around in the streets like that. Like I'm scared. I'm really scared. And even when I'm in bed with my soul loving boyfriend, I know there's a part of me who is just scared to orgasm, scared to surrender, scared to truly let my analytical, controlling mind go. And yes, I mean, it is true. And a lot of times we're not safe. And I'm actually waking up this morning with so much sadness on my heart because yesterday was the Christopher Street Day and there was a person like driving into the masses and a person died and so many got injured. And it really hurts my heart that this is happening and that there's still, I assume this man, he's Muslim, I'm assuming he is just thinking that it's so, evil to express your sexuality, to like love another man as a man or love another woman as a woman. And, honestly, like that fear sits in our body. It's not that long ago that, for example, my mom got raised, if you have sex before marriage, you're going to end up in hell for of this lifetime and every lifetime to come. And fuck, like we're in a time where like analytically we can see that that's not true. I can have sex with my partner before marriage and I'm not going to end up in hell. But that fear still sits in my body. And yes, I can walk around in the street and I know I can fight a person. I'm like grew up with two older brothers and I'm legit not scared to punch someone. And still I'm like so afraid to show my sexuality, even though I don't think we always have to show our sexuality, but sometimes it's just what I want. I want to like walk around on the streets and feel good in my body and be sexy. And a lot of times I'm scared. And I think it is so important for us, for our bodies, for this whole world to say yes to pleasure and not to buy into the fear over and over again. And yes, I think what is it? What is it that we can do to remind ourselves that we are at least safe in this moment? Maybe not in the next moment, for sure not all the time in our life, but for this exact moment, I think it's so important to remind ourselves we're safe now. Because I mean, honestly, we're like thriving, living on this earth, going through the universe. Like any second, there could be like something hitting Earth and we die. So like 100% safety is never, never, never given. But I think the most beautiful thing we can do that, at least for this one moment in time, we can over and over again to choose safety. And I know, Natalia, you went like through such a long and deep journey to like reconnect to safety in your body. And yeah, I would love to hear more of that. Reclaiming safety.
Well, like before I even answer to this question, I just really appreciate that like this conversation is really becoming the true conversation which we are having just on daily basis, like when we are on the phone. And I just really want to add that I really appreciate your openness to just be so connected and so connected to your heart when talking and just having courage to be connected to your heart and showing and becoming an example for other women to be connected to their hearts without the fear that this is going to, be something dangerous. Because there is also a lot of fear around being connected to the heart, not only to being sexual. Yeah. And just like, yeah, from one hand, with all this like compassion to the journey that the guy who did what he did, like who drove into the mass and therefore also killed one of the people who were just joyfully expressing their aliveness. Also, like there is this part, like if this sexuality through the religion was not that deeply suppressed, this guy would be able to love his body, love his five senses reality, love his breath, love everything that is inside of him. And therefore, if he would just allow himself to feel pleasure, to orgasm, to enjoy his body, he wouldn't be like madly driving into the crowd to kill people, right? So it's like just the way I see it, like being underfucked creates this kind of reality, right? So just have orgasms and less wars will be in general on this planet, right?
I truly believe in this. I truly believe if the world is better fucked,
World is better fucked. Yes. And there's just the question of how to fuck safely, right? And this is it. Like, because like I love that we are talking about fear. Like fear is just like I was afraid to feel fear and now fear is my favorite emotion, if I could say so. Like, and it's the one I'm experiencing every day, and I just became friends with it because if I was an enemy of fear, like I would be an enemy of myself because there is so much fear inside of my body that the only thing I could have done was just to become friends with it. Yeah, so and this is an introduction to safety. Like feeling fear is mandatory to feel safe, actually.
wow.
And like, I wouldn't be able to understand that a few years ago, thanks to emotional navigation training and anger training and like everything that happened in a possibility management space. So like in short, like fear creates safety, but it can also create lack of safety in our bodies. And when I think about what helps me to embody and to feel connected and to feel safe with myself, with my body, with my sensuality, with my sexuality, is the ability to feel fear. And how does this work? So, yeah, I would actually love to also bring this story of like, if we have too much of unfelt fear from the past, from the programming, like this guy, probably the guy who drove into the crowd, like he was expressing his anger, but actually underneath the anger, there was like a lot of fear that came from the conditioning and programming that came from parents, from religion, from the culture, that he cannot be sexually expressed, right? That he had to suppress his sexuality. So therefore, when he could see other people expressing their sexuality, he felt a lot of anger that they can, but he cannot, or that they can, but he couldn't. But actually underneath, there is fear, like, oh fuck, like entire life, I have never expressed my sexuality. So how, like, I feel afraid to actually do that. Like, I'm jealous that they are doing it and I cannot, or I couldn't, or I haven't been taught how to do that. And so when there is a lot of unexpressed, unfelt fear from the past living inside the body, then like things from day-to-day life just feel way more scary because kind of the amount of fear in the body is like way more than would be, let's say, appropriate to this situation. So even thinking of, all right, I have a water bottle. So if we are a container and we have a certain capacity, and in the past there were situations that made us feel scared, scared that I will go to jail, scared that if I do this, they would tell me that I am a witch, scared that I will die if I'm honest, scared that I'm going to be expelled from the house, from the family, from the tribe, scared that I'm not gonna pass the exam, scared that he's going to beat me, scared that they're going to offend me, scared that I'm going to be, expelled from the society. Whatever that was, it has been accumulated in the body. And now it feels like if I'm going to be in a sexual relationship, but my past relationship was making me feel a lot of fear, I would, in this new relationship, feel the fear, but from the past. That is just not related to my current situation, to my current reality, to the present moment. So I have just experienced and if people are not aware of the amount of fear that they are holding inside of their bodies, they do this kind of weird stuff because they just don't know what they don't know. And this is just unfelt fear that is running their life, their decisions. And it's really unconscious. So since I'm working with emotions and I'm working with fear, I was just lately, visiting my friend, and he lives in the house that is like the last house in the street. It's really close to the forest. He kind of left. Yeah, he left for one day, then he came back, then he left for one day, then he came back. So I was 2 nights with no one in the house. I was completely alone on this, in this huge house close to the forest with basically a huge garden, no one around, no neighbors. And I would normally not be scared about being alone, being in the house alone, even being in the forest during the night. It's not something that generally scares me. But somehow my body felt ready to feel a lot of fear from the past. And I could feel so much fear. I was completely paralyzed. And I remember laying in my bed in the top floor, and I couldn't fall asleep for a few hours during the night. Like in general, I'm just going to bed at 10, waking up at 6, and it's my rhythm. And that night, I could feel like kind of a cloud of fear, and then just memories of no, if I cannot go to the toilet because if I open the door, there will be a big scary man standing there. And if I open the door, he will come in and he will do something nasty to me. Or I cannot even walk around the room because someone will hear me and then they would come and take me. Or I cannot even go and open the window because then someone will see and shoot me. I had all of these weird fears. And imagine, my reality was that I was in a calm place. I was in a closed house. The house has an alarm. There is no sensible explanation because my reality was relatively safe. I'm in Poland. No one is just coming and robbing and taking a girl out of her bed in the middle of the night, in the capital of Poland. It's not happening here. So these were the fears that were living inside of my body because of the past experiences that I didn't have a chance to fully experience the fear. And that I have watched a lot of TV when I was a child. And the TV was usually about war and rapes, that I was in abusive relationship and I couldn't feel that fear because feeling fear meant I'm going to be even more abused, or all of these things, right? Or the conditioning that men are this, so women should be afraid of men because men are this. So everything all together, unexpressed from too many years, has been accumulating and then sitting in my body. And thankfully to all the tools and everything I have learned, I could have understand in this moment when it was happening that, okay, even though everything that I feel at the moment feels so real, I know that I am safe. even though I think that there is someone standing behind the door and I'm afraid to go to the toilet, I know that I feel safe because I can feel my body, because I can breathe. And I was just coming back to the reality of my body, and I was letting this fear move me. So I was just allowing myself to express everything, right? This is the somatic release of it. Feeling fear, no matter if it's real, if it's from the now, if it's from the past, feeling it and just giving the body the ability to fully live it and then let it go.
Yeah.
And it lasted few hours. And basically, if people would have the ability to distinguish the fear from the past, the fear from the TV, the fear of their grandma, the fear of the president of something, right? The fear of the people they meet and their own fear, we would be just in a way better place.
Yeah.
And this actually creates safety, because then if I know that this is my fear and I know that this is not my fear, I feel safe inside of myself. Whoa.
And I think one big part of it is to give us the space to go into our fear and actually feel it to like the whole extent that is available to us in the moment. And I think one beautiful way to meet our fear is actually through or with pleasure, to like go there and feel your fear. And I know sometimes it can be so overwhelming. And what I do in those moments is to actually like ground myself again and feel the pleasure and come back to my body. And I think we have a greater capacity to feeling our fear when we mix it with pleasure, because it calms our nervous system. And I think the other ingredient is like one ingredient is to empty the cup, how you beautiful described it. And there's like all those fear from the past. And I think it's so important to like feel them and go through the emotion. And I think the other part is when we are, for example, like walking on the streets and maybe we don't have the capacity like to fully go into the trigger of like
Maybe these are not the conditions
years ago.
But for some people are.
Or just like go in there at the moment and like fully feel the fear of 2 years ago. But I think what we can do over and over again, or at least, for example, what I do in the bedroom with my partner, is I take a second, as stupid as it sounds, and be like, okay, I'm like in this room, like how safe I am in this moment. There's like a closed door, there's the ceilings. This is my partner that I love so much. And like, remind myself how safe I am and like drop back into my body and into my sensations. And I also think that pleasure, just also feeling our pleasures, the key to like nourishing our body and feeling safe. Cause I can go like in my head of like, oh my God, this is happening and this is happening in the world and this is happening in the world. And I'm kind of like feeding into this collective fear that's happening around us. And I think through that, it's just worsening in a way the situation. Or I can like be in pleasure activist and like truly allow myself to go into my pleasure and fill my system up with pleasure. And I just told Natalia this beautiful thing. I had this coaching session where I coached a coachee, and she was embodying what it feels to be like sexually thriving, like 10 out of 10, like fully sexually thriving. And she described how it felt in her body, and she described how nourishing it was inside her body, how healthy it was for all like her cells, and also how beautiful it was for her environment, just the people around her. And I really truly believe that if we go into those pleasure states and allow ourselves to feel pleasure, even though there's like so much pain happening in this world, I think we're truly nourishing not only ourselves, but also the people around us. and how it can have like this beautiful butterfly effect on the world around us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like then you have a self-pleasure, and then you call me and you're like, "Hey, Natalia, it was so amazing." And then I'm just calling another bestie and telling her, "You know what? We need to start having more pleasure because like she's having so much pleasure that I already have pleasure from listening to her having pleasure." So it just like it doesn't stop. It's like the pleasure uh, it becomes more pleasure when we share pleasure. Like
Yeah.
it's not that you have less when you share it. And what stopped me was because when you were describing that meeting this heavy and um unfelt emotions, meeting the fear or meeting something else that is still living inside of our bodies. It's easier or it is more accessible while feeling pleasure. And now like having walked through more like tantric practices, I feel what you mean by saying this. And in the same time, taking into account, my past experiences from experiencing other people and experiencing myself with using pleasure and using sexuality as an escape from emotions, I see that there is danger um, of avoiding while trying to feel them and having pleasure. It can slip into like compulsory like avoidance of the uncomfortable. And I have noticed that in my clients, and I have noticed that in myself. Um, because I was so good in avoiding my feelings with just pretending to be sexual. And it was really far from really feeling my body, far from feeling the senses, far from feeling embodied pleasure. So here it's really important to have this distinction of, is it really pleasure that I want to kind of drip on my fear just to feel a bit safer with the fear? Or am I just performing pleasure in order to not feel the fear because it's so uncomfortable and scary to even go there?
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. This is just such a mind trick that we would love to we are just really smart to avoid the uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And how this might play out, it's like I just have in mind one of these sessions when the session was fully about being able to feel fear and just meet it. And the woman I was working with, she started doing, because she was already well into tantric practices and breath work, and her partner was the breathwork facilitator, so they were like well into the space already, and she had the ability to feel her body like really beautifully. And at some point, she started doing kind of this breathwork to it was supposed to bring her into her aliveness and into her more of a sexual expression. But the session was only about meeting the fear, which she didn't really want to meet. You know, she would rather avoid it. So then like we quickly like adjusted it so that, hey, look, you know what you're doing right now? Yes. Okay. I'm using sexual type of breath work to avoid the fear, to avoid meeting myself. So that was just really beautiful how, like, this is one of the things, right? The way you can find yourself avoiding it, even using the sexual tools. So it can be tricky. Just saying this, describing it in such a precise way, so you can really find your own mechanisms and just like catch yourself.
Yeah. If I look at it, I think it's so important how you said it, like to clear out this vessel of fear. And I mean, it might be a lifelong journey. And yeah, I think it's so important to feel into our nervous system and to feel into, is it important right now to like feel the fear and go through it? And maybe at some point it's not, it might be too overwhelming, but I do believe that to feel like even greater ways of pleasure and orgasm and expansion, like there's no way around. We have to face the fear and the sadness and the anger. And yeah, it's so important to go there and feel it.
Yeah, and for me, it's also like the deeper you go, the better you know all the like nook and crannies of your like darkness, then the higher you fly, because you just met yourself, like all of this darker parts, all of the blah.
Yeah.
And like, of course, you cannot just like feel the fear all the time, because then you couldn't do anything. Like you would be just on the floor, like trembling and like, oh my God, I need to feel the fear of all like this 2 decades of not feeling it. Like that would be overwhelming. But if you can just like sneak in sometimes, like even 10 minutes of feeling it, like the aliveness will be coming back, like the decision making, like fear can make so much like fog that you cannot make decisions. Like,
yeah, and you literally freeze up. I think like I used to like freeze up a little bit where during sex. And I think the reason was because I didn't allow myself to feel like fear and anger and sadness. And then I would just like go so much in my head and didn't feel my body. And I would just freeze up literally.
yeah,
It's fucking alive. Like there's so much
yes.
and feeling our feelings and going there. And now when I have sex with my partner, he probably sometimes thinks I'm possessed by a demon because I just go.
That's a good sign.
Because we have like standard pretty sex, but also a big portion of our sex life is me feeling
Bring everything.
alive because of that. And it's such a lie that sex is just all those just turn on and beauty. No, like shit comes up into our body.
So at the moment, I don't have a partner, and like most of my self-pleasure practices, they are also like because I'm moving a lot of fear, like when I'm just releasing a lot of fear from my womb, from the like clearing from the ex-partners and so on. And like, I wouldn't say it's sexy. It's like, it's like, it has to be this. There's nowhere. Like maybe if you wear like a really sexy underwear, that would look better. But in general, this is like, okay, well, with all the modesty, I accept myself
Yeah.
with whatever I'm going through. So I completely like I already had an image of you becoming this possessed demon because I can really identify myself with this too. Nothing near to what's shown in pornography. This is not real.
Yeah. And this moment, there's so much energy in the room. Like it really doesn't fucking matter what you look like. You don't even think in the moment. You're like, the moment is so potent. We're like so much in our bodies. I think that's the beauty. There's like so much aliveness. It really doesn't matter. how we look.
Mhm. But when I just mentioned this, I remember that I was so afraid of how do I look? Like, how does the orgasm look? How should it look? How should it sound? I was even afraid to open my eyes, to kind of be met, to see the world and let the world see me. Because of the fear that it doesn't look the way it should, doesn't fit the protocol.
Yeah, and that's another huge fear, right? Like that women don't allow themselves to go into their body, the fear of not looking good, and then at the same time the fear of not being accepted, not belong. Yeah. And I realized another huge fear is of that my fear of not being respected when I'm in my sexual energy. Not respected, like me walking in the streets and there, it's just people will like disrespect me. But also even from my partner, even though he's like the most respectful, loving person. And even within myself, I find parts within myself who are legit disrespecting me. And I think it's also, I don't know. I mean, obviously society and also porn, right? Like the most porn you see is just like a guy disrespecting a woman, you fucking slut or whatever. And that also lives inside my body. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's so beautiful when this fear comes up, and actually what I really love that the fear comes up during the actual intercourse or in this intimate setting, and just like saying it out loud is such a relief. Like really allowing it to be in the sauce, to move through you, to be there as this like third partner, or to be there as a witness to, yes, like is the most scary thing to talk about fear being in the intimate context, but it's also the most beautiful, heart opening, and just real. Because if there is a lot of fear in my body and I'm stepping into this intimate moment with a partner, and I would rather suppress this fear and pretend that it's not there, it demands a lot of energy to suppress it. It demands a lot of energy and focus to be in the moment, and in the same time suppress what's coming up for you in the moment. So it's like you are not in the moment because you are just overriding, suppressing, and trying to push down the thing that wants to come up.
Yeah.
So draining, so consuming. And you can just love it. Like, this is the moment when you add pleasure onto it. This is the moment when what you talked about, you don't perform it. Like, you don't go into performance.
Yeah.
Into pretending to feel great and sexy, but you do what you just said, right? To be with the fear and just like drip a little drop of pleasure on it.
Yeah.
This is so amazing.
And I also, what came to my mind is what you said the last time. And I think it was so beautiful that men really want to serve us for what is true for us in a moment. And I think there's probably nothing more sexy for men than seeing you truly and seeing you in your fear and being there for you when you feel ugly or whatever it is in the moment, or you're scared.
Yeah. And it's also like, this is like opening another thing, another door, but also the presence of a stable man, the presence of a man actually allows you to be present with yourself and to open your heart for yourself. And he is just the witness of it. And basically, like, if he had met his fears already, you would be able to feel that it's safe to open yours.
Yeah.
And if he didn't, you can take the lead, have just a tiny bit more of courage to meet your fear with his presence. And therefore, he would also learn from you to feel safe with feeling his fears.
Yeah. I need to go in just a little bit, but would you love to end our session with just like one recap session each? Like, what's one sentence you would love everyone to take away?
Just one sentence.
Or a little bit more.
Yes, feel your fear. Feel your fear to your bone. Feel your fear through all the layers of your skin, of your fascia, to the core of it. Feel it in your nervous system. Allow yourself to feel it fully. Express it. It's sexy, it's safe, it's orgasmic when you allow yourself to do that.
It is. I think my sentence is remind or choose when, of course, when it's true, but choose over and over again that you're safe enough when it's true for you. Safe enough to be in your body, safe enough to feel the fear, safe enough to feel confident, safe enough to trust the man you're with. I think it's important to remind ourselves how often we're safe enough. I mean, 100% safe there isn't, but most of the time we're safe enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. So finishing with that, we would love to hear anything and everything that came to you during listening. And just leave us a comment. You can just write an essay about your story. It's fine. We are going to read it. Or write us an email or DM us on Instagram. Like, we genuinely we desire to create a community of women feeling safe with expressing whatever is alive in them, whatever moves their life at the moment. And if you are one of this person and you feel enough courage and the minimum amount of fear that still allows you to share it, just feel free to do so, because we really want.
Yes, and please like and follow and give us
5 stars.
yes.
Only 5.
Okay, we love you so much.